Welcome to Masters of Self University podcast, your highest source of sacred truths and universal wisdom. Hello, beautiful souls. I'm Rachel Fiori, mystic, spiritual teacher, psychic healer, and founder of Masters of Self University. Join our journey of soul transformation as we deep dive into this latest episode. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to Masters of Self University podcast. I'm Rachel Fiori, your host for this episode. I wish the Free Palestine sweatshirt that I ordered had arrived already so that I could be wearing that for this episode, even though I know most of you listen. I will be seen in it. I promise. I will be seen in it once it arrives. But let's talk about Free Palestine. Let's talk about the college and university protests, peaceful protests that are going on, and how does this all relate to oneness consciousness? As many of you know, unless you're brand new to me and aren't sure who I am yet, if you've been following me for a while, you know that I am a mystic and a spiritual teacher of oneness consciousness. And I'm always going to offer the teachings that elevate our levels of consciousness so that we can become beings of oneness consciousness. Oneness consciousness, that is the highest level of enlightenment that we can reach in a lifetime. And this level of enlightenment is new to us in this new age, because we are in a new age. We are in an age of Aquarius, as most of you know. And since we've left the age of Pisces, this age of Aquarius, we now have access to become a higher level of enlightenment that we had access to becoming before. This is the lifetime of the Great Awakening. And I want to talk about, Palestine, why our government is in bed with Israel. Why is our government in bed with Israel? I would love to hear your comments. Comment below on that. Why do you think our government is in bed with Israel? Why do you think our government would team up with and join a group of people who are committing genocide, some of the most horrific acts that you couldn't even imagine? Why do you think that is? And I'm pausing here. Why do you really think that is? A lot is seen and understood about you by the company that you keep. Think about this. What kind of people do you surround yourself with? What kind of people do you spend time with? What kind of people do you hang out with? I mean this literally. Think about you, the listener, in your life. What kind of guy friends do you have? What kind of girlfriends do you have? What are the groups of people that you hang out with? Are they misogynistic? Are they arrogant? Are they kind? Are they racist? Do they promote inequality instead of becoming the way of equality and understanding what that actually means? No, it's not just about gender or race. That's ridiculous. It's level 1. There's 12 levels to each of the universal ways of oneness. 12. 10, 11, and 12, almost no human will ever reach while alive. Okay. What you think of as the highest levels of enlightenment, like people that, like, how are you even still on this earth as a human anymore? Okay. That's basically the highest levels that anybody has access to, that you can become, that any human can become. But levels 1, 2, 3, for example, this is where of each universal way of oneness, all 20 of them, levels 1, 2, and 3. If all of humanity, most of humanity could just achieve levels, the first 3 levels of the universal ways of oneness to shift us into oneness consciousness, that alone would completely change the violence, the war, the murder, the killing on this planet. That alone, just the first 3 levels. To create truly enlightened societies, you're talking about a certain percentage of the population reaching levels 4, 5, 6. Okay. 7, 8, and 9 are the highest levels that It's a small percentage of people would achieve in a lifetime as far as becoming the beingness of oneness consciousness. Okay. I'm not going to spend much time on this. I'm only saying that so that your left brain can understand a little bit how far away we actually are when we live in a world where that's not how we function yet. We've been born into a system of indoctrination, enslavement, brainwashing, etc., where you experience very low levels of consciousness, suffering, trapped in survival mode. Okay. And as you're growing up and as you're starting to wake up, pay attention to the company you keep. What are they like that you hang out with? Because it says a lot about you as a person. And this is not said to create separation consciousness and division. It is simply said to take a breath, drop into your heart, energetically connect to your heart, and observe yourself and others with no judgment for a moment. If you're hanging out with friends, with a group of people, if your peeps, if your tribe, if your community, if they really still are very sexist and talk shit about women, that says a lot about you if you're hanging out with them, whether you're a man or a woman. If people are hateful towards other groups of people and that's who you spend your time with, that's who you choose to spend your time with, that actually says a tremendous amount about you as a person. A lot of times people go through awakening, they heal, they start to elevate, and they're like, I've had a lot of guy friends, and I've had a lot of clients who start to really heal and awaken and elevate. And I remember the pattern that I used to see, which is very, very common, of men who used to be very, sexist and misogynist and promote inequality, like women are inferior, and as they treat them as sex objects, they talk about them as that. And then they start to awaken and elevate and they start to heal all that toxic masculinity. They start to heal all those nasty, programs of inequality, all the things. And as they're healing and elevating, they no longer look at women that way. They no longer talk about women that way. Oh, but their friends still do. And they don't say anything. They don't address it. They just say nothing. They let them still talk that way. And that's not good enough. It's not good enough. You know why it isn't good enough? Because that is the micro version of the macro of the US and Israel. That's why. That's an example. Every little thing you do is going to be magnified and reflected in the world around you. How you are with your friends, with your loved ones, whether you speak up or don't speak up. When is it appropriate to set a boundary, to not have to set a boundary? What type of boundary you need to set? Are you powerful enough to set an appropriate boundary depending on what the situation calls for? Are you powerful enough to speak up and speak out with your friends? Okay. I had a conversation with a man who was talking about, oh, come on, it doesn't matter. People run for president. The men that run for president do this and that to women. It's just locker room talk. Just locker room talk. That's funny. Okay. We're still at that level of consciousness, are we? Like, who you are as a being is what matters, not the masks you wear. He's like, well, I would never say that to you in front of you. I have too much respect for that. That's hilarious. You don't have respect if you would say it behind my back. There's no difference. So here's the example that I gave to him, and we're going to get back to Palestine, I promise, in a moment, and the college protest. But this is an important foundational teaching that I want to awaken you to first, so that you can be open enough to dive into what I'm going to offer about the college protests and our lovely government. So this man is having this conversation with me, and he's talking about, well, there's a difference, just locker room talk. It's just guy talk. It's just blah, blah, blah. I'm like, so you're just a misogynistic pig who thinks trash about women and you only see them as sex objects. Well, no, I don't, because blah, blah, blah. Listen, so here's my example that I gave to him. Because this is a guy who's like, friendly with all kinds of people, all walks of life, doesn't matter the skin color, male, female. He's that guy. right? But he's not a very evolved guy. I mean, that should be pretty obvious by him thinking that treating women the way that he treats women, as long as it's not in front of them, is acceptable and okay. That's somehow not misogynistic, right? So here's the example that I gave him because he is often he's a white guy, by the way. And so here's the example I gave him. I said, "Okay, so do you think that if," and I gave the person that I see him talk to, like, that's a good friend of his, and it's a black man. And I said, "So if he came over here and we were all talking and chatting," this is somebody I talked to too. We were all talking and chatting, and I'm all nice and friendly to his face. And then when he walked away, I started using the N word, and he looked at me like he was disgusted. And I was like, Good. Like, I want that because that's an appropriate reaction. Like, I hope he would be disgusted if I used that word, right?" So thank God he had that reaction because if he didn't, I would have been in a world of trouble with the example because I'm like, "Oh, you're not just sexist, you're also racist." Well, now I know. Okay. Never talk to you again. Um, but he looked at me with this appalled face like he was disgusted. And I was like, "Well, he's not around. He's not in front of us. So, just between you and I, us two white people, we can refer to him as the N, what he is, right? Like what he really is. Cause it's just. And he just kind of stared at me. And then, of course, because he's very low level of conscious, he's not willing to evolve and expand in any way, shape, or form, and that's fine. He started to do the, "Well, but that's not the same thing." Okay, it's not the same thing. The fuck you. Fuck off. Because yes, it fucking is. Okay? You're not a closet sexist, you're a fucking sexist. You're not a closet racist, you're a fucking racist. Period. End. Stop wearing the goddamn masks. Okay? So, who you hang out with and who you allow in your presence to say nasty, hateful things about a group of people or about another says a lot about you. Who are you as a person? Who are you as a person? And that doesn't mean that because of maybe who you used to be and you're now healing and evolving, it's not challenging to now suddenly speak up and show this new, more elevated version of you. Sometimes people go through the period of time where their shame of who they used to be comes up. They feel like a hypocrite all of a sudden and they have to work through that. That's all part of evolving. That's okay. It's normal to go through that, like, "Oh my gosh, that used to be me and I'm afraid to speak up." That can be a normal part of healing and evolving. Don't get stuck there because it isn't good enough. You can't stay trapped there because that's not good enough. Just if you stopped saying that stuff, but other people in your presence are still doing nasty, horrible, terrible things, saying hateful things, doing, acting out hateful acts, whatever it is, to whatever degree, and no, that one little thing isn't a big deal. Yes, it is, because hate is hate, and separation is separation, and division is division, and inequality is inequality. Yes, it is a big deal. Okay. Now, that is the micro. If you can't even handle that, if you're not powerful enough yet to speak up and speak out in a group of people when you might be the only one standing up for another group of people, how do you ever expect to make a difference on this planet when genocide is being committed? Let that sink in. Well, genocide's not the same. Oh, but that's what it leads to. Do you not connect the dots? This is what we do. These are the teachings that we offer people in our coaching programs. We teach you how to connect the dots. How does something so massive, so crazy, so horrific get created? Oh, I'll teach you how. Because this is what I do. All goes back to the core, the root cause of that massive chaos, of something even like genocide, of something like an entire country a government of an entire country, completely step by step, removing women's rights, removing all rights, removing freedom of speech, removing sovereignty over your own body, removing having any choice and any say in any matter ever, removing your ability to move freely around the country, whether you're pregnant or not, removing the ability to get a divorce if you're married. All of these things that our government has been trying to do, taking away rights, taking away rights, taking away rights. If they continue to take away rights and none of us have any rights left and we're just slaves, how will we ever prevent something like a genocide? We're in bed with the people. Our government of the United States of America is in bed. That's the company they keep with the people who are committing genocide. Who they hang out with and who they team up with and who they partner with, our government, says a hell of a lot about our government, doesn't it? And how do we get there is by all the little things that we allow the people that work in our government, who, by the way, work for us. They're our employees. They work for us. And yet they'll have you believe the opposite. That we work for them because that's the system they've set up, and we've let them do it. Because they make little changes, little changes, little changes, little changes, subtle little changes to the point where when the bigger ones start happening, suddenly you have no rights and no room to move and you're locked in a box. You feel like you're in a straitjacket. This is what the United States government is doing. So I want to take a moment and applaud all of the college students everywhere. UCSD, UCLA, Harvard, every one of you on every one of those campuses that have been performing and rising up, performing your protests, all of your peaceful protests, and look at what our government is doing. Look at what the people in charge at the university campuses are doing. Calling the police, showing up with your rubber bullets, creating chaos, creating violence, arresting students, escorting people off campus who don't have a student ID, not allowed to participate in that peaceful protest. They are removing our rights before our very eyes. You have every right to protest anybody's involvement in or support of genocide of a group of people. And that is what we should be doing. Because when you function as a more highly conscious being, any beings, period, that are being harmed, that are being abused, that are being raped, that are being murdered, that are being tortured, any group of beings. I don't care if we're talking about dogs. Dogs are being tortured and raped in certain cultures. Literally. Do you know that? That wasn't a, oops, I said the wrong term there. And stuff like that is coming out the way that certain people torture animals. And I know some of you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say it out loud here. I don't want this one to be taken down, and I say enough for it to be taken down. Animals are tortured. Animals are tested on. Humans are being tortured. Humans are being murdered. Do you understand that in oneness consciousness, no group of beings, no matter what they are, it is unacceptable. It is brutality. It isn't humane to participate and support and allow and accept any of these things that go on in our world to happen. And war and genocide and raping all the women and children, all of this that continues to go on in the year 2024 in our world. And then when students, young adults in their late teens and 20s are standing up, rising up, their rights are taken away, that they're not allowed to protest. They're not allowed to peacefully assemble and say that this university that supports these things in these ways is unacceptable, and we're the ones that pay you to go to school here. You make your money from us, some of the way you make your money. Other ways that you make your money are very corrupt and fucked up, and all that's coming out, isn't it? So go down that rabbit hole if you don't know that. But they pay you money to go get an education from you. We're not gonna pay you money. This is unacceptable. We rise up, free Palestine. We don't support genocide. We are against war, murder, rape, torture, and genocide. We are against that. Are you paying attention to when the people, the young college students and young people, young adults that are rising up and speaking out are the ones who are treated like they're the violent ones, they're the wrong ones? What does that say about those in charge? Talk about a level of gaslighting and manipulation. Like, "Oh, these are troublemakers. They can't be." I'm sorry. If anybody knows, if you are listening to this right now and you know, or you are one of the people that has been a part of the protests at university campuses and college campuses, tag somebody, send this to somebody, comment below. I would love to have some of you students, wherever, whatever school you go to, doesn't matter. I would love to have some of you on this podcast. I would love to give you a voice. Comment below, reach out, and keep using your voices and keep filming it and putting it on social media. Because this is how we get to see and expose the truth of the powers that be, what kind of people they are. If you are somebody who sees a being, and again, I don't care if it's a human, a woman, a child, an animal, being harmed, being abused, being tortured, and you do nothing and you say nothing, you are weak and you are pathetic. If you were the one doing the abuse and the torture and all the things, in whatever ways you're doing that, you are beyond weak and pathetic. But if you see it and you say nothing, what does that say about you? That you condone abuse, that you condone genocide, that you condone war, that you condone violence, that you condone rape. You are supporting it in your silence. You are supporting it in your silence. You are allowing it to continue. So, for all of you that have been standing up and speaking out and using your voices, keep going. Keep doing it. Don't let these motherfuckers that are in power, and I don't care if it's the people in charge, the president of your university, or our government, or the police force, do not let them intimidate you. Do not let them, with their violence, with their rubber bullets and whatever it is that they're going to pull on you, do not let them intimidate you and scare you into silence. This mass awakening globally, we are rising. It is time to rise. It is time to stand up. It is time to share these stories. It is time to speak out. It is time to join the protesters. If you are in the area and you know of one going on, show up. And if you don't know of one going on and you don't know how to participate in one, that's okay. Look for it on social media. When all of those students, when all of these people post what they post, share it, speak on it, duet it, stitch it, do whatever, talk about it, highlight it, spread it, spread it, spread it. The fact that our government is participating and supporting anything like this shows you what our government is really made of. And that should make you sick. And I hope you're not dumb enough to believe that the candidates that they put in front of your face all the time and act like there's only the 2, they they are not going to stop. They haven't. They haven't stopped anything like this. I don't care what president we have had. Pick the last however many president, it's always war. We're always in war, and it's done by design. We are always engaged in some kind of war, aren't we? Are you tired of it yet? Are you sick of it yet? They benefit, they make money from things like this. Meanwhile, could care less about human life. They don't care about human life. They don't care about your human life. They don't care about the people being tortured and murdered and killed. They don't care about sending men and women to go fight in this crap when they send people to war from our country. They don't care about human life. They don't care about life. Let that sink in. Because these are the people that run our country that we listen to. We listen to them. We keep paying our taxes and totally being raped up the ass by the amount of taxes that they take from us. The government fails its own audits. The Pentagon does. 6 straight years in a row. Every time it's been audited, fail, fail. Where's that money going to? You think that's the money that's helping to participate and support a genocide possibly? I don't know. Where's our tax dollars? What do we have to show for our tax dollars? And here's a beautiful thing why I bring up all the college protests with Free Palestine movement. Young people are seeing what our government is. They're waking up. And we have the internet and social media. I didn't have that when I was young. It didn't exist yet. Like, you didn't have that in school. It wasn't invented yet. I know it's hard to imagine. None of you, if you grow up with this, you cannot begin to fathom the difference between now, just a short period of time ago, right? We didn't have it. So you couldn't spread the word on things in the same way. You couldn't unite in oneness and say, none of this is right. None of this is okay. You know, the horrors of the world. Let's figure this out together and wake up, right? And evolve. You didn't have the channels and the avenue to do that the way that we do, the way that we have access to some of these things today. And by the way, real quick side note, Amara, go look up Amara. It's literally this week coming out. It's a social media platform just newly being released, and none of this garbage that you deal with on TikTok or Instagram or any of the other platforms where you're censored and your stuff's taken down and you're shadow banned. Amara's coming out. It's not going to have all the bells and whistles yet. Not yet, because it can't. I mean, even TikTok didn't have all the things that it has now when it first came out, right? It has to evolve. So become the way of patience. But it is a platform that if you all start joining it, it is a place where a lot of things can be shared and freedom of speech exists on that platform. And especially right now, because it's brand new and it's small. So the government isn't going to try to come in and shut it down yet because it isn't big enough yet. But let's make it big. Let's make it big because freedom of speech actually exists on Amara. So just know that as a side note. Go look for it, download the app, and jump on there. As soon as it's ready, within a few days or this week coming up, I will be on there. And that is definitely a place where I will be uncensored. My stuff won't get constantly taken down and banned. And I would love to hear your voices on there too. So please join Amara. So I'm not going to make this podcast very long. I'm not going to make this episode very long. Okay. I just wanted to go out and say to all of the students that are protesting, that are rising up, that are using their voices, do not allow yourselves to be intimidated. Don't back down. Don't stop using your voices. Continue to film what is happening at those protests. Continue to film how you are treated when you are peacefully protesting, and then cops show up and do the things that they're doing. Continue to report and show that these are peaceful protests and that the people at your university are lying and saying you were suspended and you shouldn't be there. And that's why I called the police, all the bullshit. Continue to rise and use your voices. You are supported. I applaud you. Keep going. Do not be intimidated. Do not allow them to force you into quitting, giving up, or backing down. Don't give up and don't back down, because then they win. This is the revolution. This is all part of a global revolution, and certainly one in this country where we are tired of our government supporting, doing business with a group of people who are committing genocide. We are tired of our government engaging in war. We are tired of our government lying to us, stealing our money, and using that money for things like violence, war, genocide. So why do you think the United States government is in bed with Israel? Why do you think? I mean, beyond the surface level. Think about it. Think about that. Let that sink in. Why would our government, what does it say about our government that we would allow the torture and murder of innocent people, a genocide of people, that we would actually be okay with it? And anybody listening to this from anywhere else in the world other than the United States, our government is not a reflection of the American people. Let me make that very clear. Our government is not representative of the American people and who we are as a people. Who we are as a people, we are rising up. We are against what our government is doing. We support those in protest, those that are rising up. We invite people to awaken and heal and get out of their suffering and raise their level of consciousness so that we can completely wipe out the powers that be that function in such a dark, evil, disgusting level of consciousness where all they care about is using and abusing humans, dehumanizing them, because all they do is view us as their slaves anyway, that they can control and manipulate. And the more they enslave us and the more they take our rights away in the republic that we're supposed to be living in, they're dumbing down education, and it's just a system of brainwashing and indoctrination anyway. We have the highest infant mortality rates, and we're not supposed to be a third world country. Like, our medical system is completely broken. It's all a sham. Like, what is going on in this country? And then when you have students who are rising up and protesting and speaking out against our support of and participation in some of the most gruesome, horrific acts that exist, you treat the protesters like they're the ones who are out of control and they're the ones who are violent. That is a level of gaslighting. And way too many Americans and way too many people across the entire world in this collective are waking up for real, and they see you, people in government. We see you. We see you for what you are. And more and more and more people see you for what you are, which is why you're trying to take all our rights away, because you're afraid of us. And you should be. Because we are the ones that have all the power. And we are going to continue to unite, raise our level of consciousness, heal our suffering, our traumas, our programs that create separation and division and hate. We, more and more people, we are coming together and doing the real work. If you are trapped in your mind, if you're trapped in your traumas, if you're trapped in your PTSD or in any degree of mental, emotional, spiritual suffering, Masters of Self University, this is why I created this organization. We do this as professionals, and we are the best of the best of the best in the world at what we do. I don't say that lightly. Let us help you if you need help. You want to know why we want to have access to and help so many people in the world heal their trauma, connect to their divine inner power, become a more and more enlightened being, and go on that path of enlightenment, of becoming an initiate of oneness consciousness so that you can become a truly enlightened being of oneness consciousness? You want to know why we do this? Why I do this? Is because we're here to change the world. And we will only do that together, united as one, loving each other, healing each other, supporting each other, embracing all of the aspects of the shadow self, moving through the pain of being disconnected from your divinity for so long, and finding your internal power. Your internal power embraces the aspect of you that are shameful, unloving, hateful. That's how you heal it. That's how you heal it. By first seeing the ugly, seeing the monstrous side of you, seeing the ugly side of you, seeing the unloving, unfair, hateful side of you, the objectification side of you, what you project onto other side of you. You want to heal the government. You want to heal this country. You have to heal yourself first. You have to have the ability, the divine sight. You have to gain the divine sight and the divine wisdom to see what programs you run. Where is the brainwashing that turned you into not so loving person, not a patient person, a person that has no idea what surrender even means, let alone flows in any way, shape, or form in their own lives? You have to be willing to do that level of work on yourself first. Because when you start to see the programs you're running, the projections you offer to other people versus the presence that you are, the compassion that you are, you won't be able to offer compassion to people who were once pretty ugly people, pretty selfish people, pretty sexist or racist people. You won't be able to embrace them in oneness once they start to awaken and they start to heal and they start to move through the shame of who they used to be. That's what this is. That's what we are here for. And I want everyone to wake up more and more and more to that. Because if you can become that loving and that powerful and that level of harmlessness and gentleness and that level of compassion and that level of connection with your own divine self, and then you only connect to other people and other beings on this planet from that place of divinity, that is an aspect of the way of purity. That is an aspect of the way of selfless service. And that is how we eventually create the way of harmony, where we harmonize everything on this planet to function as the 20 universal ways of oneness, supporting each other in our healing, up leveling, focusing on your own level of growth and expansion is what inspires people and supports people, gives you the power to support other people who maybe even have hurt you in the past, to elevate, embrace them, offer them harmlessness and gentleness and compassion, and support them in their own journey of healing, of elevating, of awakening, of becoming a higher level of consciousness. That done together in unity, eventually in oneness with one another, is what will take down every dysfunctional, harmful, evil, sadistic government in any and every part of this entire planet. You want them to be taken down, you want to dismantle it, but you have to have the way of wisdom, the honoring, the selfless service, the loyalty, the unconditional love, the harmony, the equality, the trust to actually build something brand new from a different vibrational frequency than the old vibrational frequency of patriarchy, war, violence, domination, all that sadistic behavior, murder, rape, torture, trafficking, all of it. Time for it to go. Bye-bye. It's gone. But that can't be wiped out from this planet if you are not becoming a more divine and more powerful being. healing yourselves, elevating yourselves, uniting together, healing your separation and your division programs. That's what we're here to do. That's what this lifetime is all about. No humans deserve to experience and go through what the people of Palestine are going through right now, and every one of us should be rising up. Enough is enough. Enough is enough of allowing and accepting violence and war and murder and genocide, trafficking, the abuse, the torture. Enough is enough. And we have to understand, as the way of wisdom, we have to understand this is so multi-layered. You're not going to create one president or one policy and boom, this all goes away. No. This is a spiritual war that is happening on our planet, and you're on one side or the other. In order to be powerful enough in oneness to alchemize the evil and the darkness and the violence on this planet, the brutality, the dehumanization, the raping and torture of Mother Earth herself, in order to heal all of the things that are going on and transform them, all of the darkness, you have to be the light that is powerful enough to transform all of the evil and the darkness on this planet. And that is an individual process as well as a community and a collective process. You can only unite in oneness when you unite in oneness with your divine soul, your higher self, healing the darkness within yourself. You want help to do that? Go to mastersofselfuniversity.com, get a free consultation, join one of our groups, and we'll coach you and teach you in those classes exactly how to do that. The more of us that unite together in oneness, the more powerful we are to make real, lasting change. That's transcendence. That's true, actual transformation. Go join our Discord channel. Join that community. We would love to see you in there. Comment below if you're one of the college students, university students that is protesting and you want to share your story, because we would love to have you on here on this podcast, telling the truth, boots on the ground, what's going on, what happened. We want to hear from you. I would love to hear from you. Let us know. Share this out. Like, subscribe, share this with somebody that you know would inspire them to keep going, that would make a difference in their lives, and also with somebody who you believe could also make a difference. Don't forget that we're in this together. Don't forget about the American Congress Party, by the way, because that's the Congress Party that it has been created, the plan is to take the damn red side and the damn blue side, which is all the same side. All of our government is just corrupt and wrong. There's an illusion of the two, fighting against each other, but it's all the same team and not in a positive way. I know a lot of you realize that. I hope you realize that by now. Democrat, Republican, it's all the same crap. All the same crap. I don't know how anybody in our government can be supporting what our government is supporting right now, what our president is supporting. So what's really going on with our relationship with Israel? What's really going on behind the scenes that we could be a part of something and support something like this? What is really going on at those deeper levels? That's what I would like to know. Follow the American Congress Party and the people who are running for Congress, who are running for government positions, that are coming and joining the American Congress Party. They're not Democrat. They're not Republican. They're running under the American Congress Party. I'm running for president under the American Congress Party because I believe in what this party is here to do and offer us. And I believe that if more students, college students, university students, got access to and were exposed to what the American Congress Party is, we want to give you a voice because we stand with you. So make sure you share this out with somebody who you think would benefit and somebody who you think would support the American Congress Party or possibly want to be a part of it, possibly want to run for an office, a position of power, a U.S. representative, and they want to run under the American Congress Party. We want to hear from you because we want people who have powerful voices who will not tolerate war and genocide and rape and violence, all of it. We want all that to go. And we want to hear from you if you are somebody who wants all of that to be gone from the existence of this planet, because it can be. But not if we don't unite together, not if we don't use your voices, not if we don't come together in a party like the American Congress Party, not if you continue to say, well, I mean, I don't like politics. Fuck politics. I don't like politics. And I'm running for president of the United States. Of course, I don't like politics. I'm actually a good human. Like think about what politics has turned into, which is why so many people are turned off by it. But because you're turned off by it, is why you won't touch it with a 10-foot pole. And when you won't touch it with a 10-foot pole, it is precisely why the people that are in government get away with the evil, disgusting, sadistic shit that they get away from. And they use and abuse us so they can continue to fund all the craziness that they're funding. They're stealing from us and they're getting away with it because we say things like, well, I don't like politics. Oh, I don't either, because it's all corrupt bullshit and it is the opposite. It is nowhere near functioning in a divine level, let alone a level of oneness consciousness. So no, it's disgusting. I don't like it either. And yet here I am because it's quote unquote politics is the problem. It's the people that run politics. It's the people that are involved in politics. It's the people that are in running our government in positions of power that are the problem, that make quote unquote politics the problem here. We don't have to live this way. We don't. And do not think that you are powerless or it's hopeless to change all this. We just have to unite together. That's what the revolution is all about. That is what the revolution is all about. And there's different levels to this revolution. So let's join the revolution of oneness. Come together, unite together, put your differences aside, and let's raise our level of consciousness and actually put the effort, the time, the resources into healing yourselves at the soul level so that we can be divinely powerful enough to come together to change all of the bullshit that we see in this world and especially in this goddamn country. Because I'm tired of it. And as long as you're doing your part, you are making a difference. As long as you are doing your part. Oh, but I'm only one person. What can I do? You can change the world. That's what you can do because that's what you're capable of. We can do that together because that's what we are capable of. But we can't do it when you're still running programs of smallness and powerlessness and hopelessness. And I'm too inferior and I'm too small and I can't make a difference. All that crap that needs to go. You can make a difference. You are making a difference. Look at all these college students and university students who are protesting. They're making a difference. They're making a massive difference. And they're not running around harming anybody, fighting anybody. They're not doing anything violent. They're being treated like they are. They're being gaslit like they are. Oh, but that's what we're up against. That's what we're up against. You don't run as soon as it gets challenging. Keep going. Join the revolution. Let's do this. We got this. We're here to change the world. And I think we can do it in a handful of years. I think there's so much that we can change in a handful of years. Keep going. Rise up. Heal yourselves. Unite together with others that will support you and love you through your healing. We create that. We offer that on a professional level. We offer that in our Discord community. Join our Discord community. Do whatever it takes to elevate yourselves, to heal your own traumas so that you can turn around and heal the traumas of others. Even if all it is supporting them and pointing them in the right direction, the people that can help them. That's part of oneness. We have all the power. And I say that from a place of love and divinity, not domination and control, like the current people that are in positions of power. It's time to rise, so let's rise. Thank you for listening. Always a pleasure and an honor. Join me in the next episode of Masters of Self University podcast. See you then.